Yo, how'd you get your forearm so jacked? Oh, you know, some Mexican music.
God! Come on! Hello gamers! Welcome to today's video, where I'll be seeing how many strikes I can get in one song. The longest song being Freebird. For those of you that may not be familiar with Festival or what a strike is a misplayed note and occurs when pressing an extra input without a note being there. It's similar to missing a note in that it resets your score multiplier, but unlike missed notes, you can still achieve 100% with as many strikes as you want. So the goal here is to shoot for as many strikes as possible using different methods to see which one nets the most strikes, because why not? I got the idea from a buddy of mine, Mason, who thought it'd be a great idea to see how many strikes he could get. I upped the ante by throwing in Freebird as the song. Then I thought, hey, I've seen no one do this before, so how about I do this myself? For this video, I will be trying out 7 different methods to see which one nets me the most strikes. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Man, I'm gonna get bad carpal tunnel after this. The first method I used involved pulling out the Riffmaster guitar controller for the Pro Lead chart, just like the good old Guitar Hero and Rock Band days. As a disclaimer for the rest of the video though, I will only be doing the lead guitar chart of Freebird for consistency reasons, as well as the fact that there aren't any breaks within the chart itself, unlike drums, bass, and God forbid anyone has to do vocals on this song. The idea here is to still try to hit the notes while strumming as fast as possible, which is exactly what I did. And boy did my arms start getting tired. This is so stupid! For the love of God! After almost 10 grueling minutes of slapping the strum bar, we got 2,325 strikes. Not gonna lie, that number was much lower than I initially predicted, but we're not gonna talk about that. Wow, that did not go well. Good God. For our second method, I'm going to entirely focus on strumming without hitting any of the buttons, as strumming with the strum bar will net me a strike. The idea behind this method is to be able to switch hands in case my main arm gets tired 30 seconds into the song. It is really jarring not being able to hear the solo. This is absolutely cursed. Oh. So we hear parts of the solo, we just don't actually hear the legitimate solo itself. See, now you hear the solo. I'm playing it. 100%. Oh God. Once again, I was going ham on the strum bar throughout the whole song. Or at least trying to, but you get the point. Finally, reached the end of the song, and how many strikes did I get? What? Yeah, so that was a lie. I still had to hit the buttons, which I didn't know about until that moment, but still, that was some of the most diabolical pile of dookie that I've seen over the course of the year and a half that I've been playing Festival, man. Like, 16 strikes? Dude. Just move on to the next one. After doing all I could with the Riffmaster, it was time to switch back to the controller and start off with what's best known as a trigger layout, because, believe it or not, I actually enjoy using the triggers more than I do the buttons. To some, it's a silly choice, but I'm also a silly guy, so it checks out. I also had another buddy of mine, Jesus, join me for this one. He was actually present for half of the methods that I'll showcase here today, so shout out to bro. I wanna serve as a reminder that I don't exactly remember what Mason's number was, but it was slightly over 7,000. But I forgot to record the footage because I'm dumb.
It doesn't matter. I'll pass it. Wait, so wait. I did this without. How do you get a strike again? Oh my god. Minecraft didn't prepare me well enough. I gotta put on like Mexican music. I gotta my culture help me.
You gotta put on what music?
Some Mexican music. I'm on beat to the Mexican music. Ah!
God!
Ah!
Come on!
Ah, it's 5 seconds. Ah! Ah!
The good thing about this particular layout for me is how easy and fast I was able to press all 5 buttons at the same time throughout the whole song. Even though my hands were getting tired in the middle of the guitar solo, I was still able to maintain a decent strikes per minute. And at the end of the song, it really showed. Holy shit!
How much did you get?
I got 9,661.
Holy crap, Stefan! What the hell?
I had gotten 9,661 strikes, the highest so far. And Lord, I was out of breath, let me tell you. But I still had 4 different attempts to go, and I wasn't going to stop now. On to the next controller layout, which is the trigger button hybrid. This is actually a layout I've never used before, and I'm certain it didn't exist for expert difficulty in the early days of Fortnite Festival. It wasn't a bad layout, but it's not one I'd use. And honestly, there's not really a whole lot to say about this method other than the fact that the directional buttons aren't the easiest to button mash very quickly. That and these 2 buttons in particular, trying to button mash them with one finger isn't exactly the easiest thing to do. I am concentrating so hard right now. You know what? And after another mind-numbing 10 minutes, I managed to get 8,870 strikes. Not as many as the triggers, but still quite a lot. Admittedly, had it not been for the directional button being more difficult to button mash than the other 4 buttons, I'd probably have a higher strike count to compete with the trigger layout. But no matter, let's move on. For this method, I thought another idea I could try was to mash one button as fast as possible. I ended up switching back to the trigger layout and used square as the single button I'd be mashing into oblivion. Or X for the Xbox players out there. I'm telling you, I'm trying to get as much footage, or I'm trying to get the footage for all, like every single different type of method or control mapping. And right now I'm spamming just one button. My arm's getting tired, mate. I've been doing this for 7 minutes. It's so hard. I'm doing between normal button mashing and like 2-finger button mashing. Now I can mash the button very quickly, but for 10 minutes? Good lord, I swear my fingers were starting to lock up on me. There were times I had to stop pressing for a few seconds for one reason or another, so my strike count is lower than what it could have been. But, admittedly, that's not really saying much. Oh my god. In the end, I had gotten 3,634 strikes this time around, which I should have expected when I'm only pressing one button when compared to 5. But it is what it is. But let me tell you, If I had $1 for every strike I got in this method, then I'd have enough money to finally invest in a PC. Okay, on to the next one. Probably the most popular layout people use with the controller is the thumb layout. Personally, it's not my cup of tea, and it still isn't. And no, I refuse to say it's a skill issue. Seriously though, trying to press all 5 buttons at the same time wasn't exactly the easiest thing to do. I found myself not pressing all 5 buttons simultaneously, which caused me to lose out on some strikes, as well as pressing the big menu button on my controller, from which I can never seem to escape from, because my thumbs are absolutely garbage, I tell you. Garbage!
Alright. I'll see you in 10 minutes, mate.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, these buttons are uncomfortable. Lord knows I can't change it. Lord knows I can't change my Mexican ways. Carpal tunnel's a job. Oh my god. But we pushed through to the end of the song and ended off with a solid 7,468 strikes. However, I still had not been able to beat my previous strike count of 9,661 yet after doing 5 other methods of madness. I didn't think I'd be able to, even with the final method I haven't even tried yet. But then, Jesus presented me with a blueprint of said method that didn't even cross my mind once throughout this entire video.
I did custom.
Custom?
I did. I put all of them on the X, square, triangle, circle.
Then it hit me, like being sent off a cliff right back to the lobby. It was time to initiate the final method I had left up my sleeve. Our final method is the custom layout. Going off of the blueprint given by Jesus, again, shout out to bro, I will be mapping 4 of the 5 buttons to triangle, circle, X, and square, with the random 5th button being our right trigger. Now it did make me nervous off the bat, knowing more than likely our 5th button would be like a 3rd wheel in a double date. However, if I could keep the same button mashing speed that I did with the 1 button mashing method with all 4 buttons, then I'll have a shot at not only beating my highest strike count, but also getting over 10,000 strikes in one song. This was it. This was almost 70 minutes of button mashing coming to a close. We finally reached the end. And... fuck! Okay, yeah, I didn't end up beating the 9,661 strikes, so clearly the winner here is the trigger layout. I'm sure if I retried on some of the methods, then I would have gotten a higher strike count on some of them, and maybe even hit over 10,000 strikes. But I wanted each one to have a fair shot, so I only did 1 attempt for each method. That, and the last thing my fingers need, is an extra hour of Freebird, man. That was nearly 70 minutes of Freebird, and if we combined all of the strikes that we got throughout all 7 methods, then you'll see that we got a total of 40,532 strikes. Good lord, that's bad. That about sums everything up though. This video is very different from what I usually do, so firstly I want to apologize for my mic quality. I don't have a proper microphone to speak into for commentary videos like this one, so when all you have access to is a headset to speak into, you kinda get quality like this. Secondly, I've always done compilations on my channel and such, and the last video I've ever done close to a commentary type video was almost 9 years ago. Shout out YouTube editor and my dumbass thinking I could do a proper commentary without a script on the subject being on how to use a controller. Yeah, listen, it was my third ever video on the platform and I had no idea what I was doing. However, I was more prepared now and I had a lot of fun with it. So if you had fun watching, consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. It's good for your health, trust me. And until next time, see you when I see you. Balls.